Everywhere I go, people ask me the same thing. Are we about to see another foreclosure crisis? Is it 2008 all over again? And I get it. Headlines about rising debt, adjustable rate mortgages resetting, and investors under pressure make it feel like the housing market is on the edge of a cliff. But here's the truth. While there are warning signs of more foreclosures ahead, it's not exactly what you think. The next wave won't look like 2008. It'll look very different, and it will hit some homeowners in some neighborhoods harder than others. So today, I'm breaking down the facts about foreclosures in 2025, what's really happening nationally, what it means here in Phoenix, and how buyers and sellers should prepare before the tide comes in. Let's start with the big picture. Across the US, foreclosure filings have been ticking upward. They're not exploding, but they're definitely rising. Why? A few reasons. Household debt is at record highs. Credit card delinquencies are climbing. Car loan defaults are increasing. And adjustable rate mortgages, ARMs, that were taken out a few years ago are starting to reset at much higher interest rates. For families who stretched thin when rates were low, that reset can mean a monthly payment that jumps by hundreds of dollars. And for some, that's the breaking point. But, and this is important, unlike 2008, most homeowners today have significant equity. They didn't get risky loans with no verification. They put money down. So instead of mass walkaways, what we're more likely to see are targeted pockets of distress, not a nationwide collapse. Now, to give some perspective, let's remember what 2008 really looked like. Back then, lending was completely reckless. Phoenix, in particular, was ground zero for the crash. We had entire subdivisions sitting empty, weeds in the driveways, foreclosure signs everywhere. Today, that's not what's happening. Lending standards are tighter, equity is stronger, and most homeowners have far more stability. So yes, foreclosures will rise, but they will rise in a very different way. Now let's talk about what's happening here in Phoenix. We're seeing a slow but noticeable rise in pre-foreclosure activity. Nothing like the tidal wave of 2008, but the numbers are creeping higher. The homeowners most at risk right now are those who bought during the frenzy of 2021 and 2022. They paid top dollar, some of them stretched their budgets, and now they're dealing with higher insurance, higher HOA fees, and higher costs of living. In parts of the valley like Buckeye, Queen Creek, or the far west side, where new builds were booming, there's more risk. Why? Because those buyers often put the minimum down, and if values dip even a little, they don't have much cushion. Compare that to Scottsdale or Central Phoenix, where buyers usually had stronger financial. Those markets are much more insulated. So here's the reality. Foreclosures in Phoenix won't hit every zip code equally. Some neighborhoods may feel the pain, while others barely notice. And to put a human face on this, imagine a young family who bought a brand new build in Buckeye in 2021. They stretched to buy at $430,000 with just 3% down. At the time, the rate was in the low threes, so the payment was manageable. Fast forward to today. Insurance has gone up, HOA dues are higher, and with inflation, every cost of living is biting harder. They're not in foreclosure yet, but they're on the edge. And if one spouse loses a job or a big unexpected expense hits, suddenly they're in trouble. Multiply that scenario across hundreds of families, and that's how you get a wave of foreclosures in certain neighborhoods, even if the overall market looks fine. Now let's clear up the biggest fear, the idea that we're headed for another 2008 crash. Back then, the problem was toxic lending. People were getting mortgages with zero down, no income verification, and teaser rates that doubled after 2 years. When prices dropped, millions had no equity and they just walked away. Today is different. Lending standards are tighter. Most homeowners have real skin in the game, and prices, while high, are supported by a fundamental lack of supply. So no, we're not going to see Phoenix flooded with 50,000 foreclosures the way we did in 2008. That was a once-in-a-generation crisis. What we're looking at now is more like a wave that hits certain areas, not a tsunami that drowns the entire market. One group to watch closely is investors. Over the last decade, Phoenix became a major playground for institutional investors. Wall Street firms, private equity, Airbnb operators, they all piled in. And when rents were skyrocketing, that made sense. But now, rent growth has slowed, vacancy rates in certain neighborhoods is rising, and the carrying costs on leveraged properties are higher than ever. If those investors start to sell, or worse, if they start defaulting on bulk loans, we could see small clusters of foreclosures or forced sales hit the market. For buyers, that could mean opportunity. For sellers, it could mean more competition if investors dump inventory. This is a big part of the story no one's really talking about. You know, it's easy to talk about numbers and data, but let's not forget the human side of this. A foreclosure isn't just a statistic. It's a family losing their home, their neighborhood, their stability. And in Phoenix, that's often families who moved here chasing affordability and opportunity. That's why I always remind clients, if you're in trouble, talk to your lender early. Explore options like loan modification, refinancing, or even selling before foreclosure becomes the only option. Sometimes selling in a tough spot still leaves you with some equity, and that's a whole lot better than a foreclosure on your record. And let's also bust a common myth. Buyers often think foreclosures equal cheap steals, but the reality is most foreclosure properties aren't move-in ready. They've got deferred maintenance, sometimes serious issues. Banks don't stage them, they don't paint them, they don't fix the roof. So yes, you might save on the purchase price, but then you'll put that money right back into repairs. And on top of that, cash investors are circling every distressed home ready to outbid you. So the idea of a foreclosure jackpot is not a reality for most buyers. So what should buyers take from all this? First, don't hold your breath waiting for a massive flood of cheap foreclosures. That's just not coming. Second, be prepared for opportunities in certain areas. If a pocket of the valley sees more distressed sales, you could find homes below market value. But you have to be ready to move quickly, and you have to do your homework because distressed homes often come with deferred maintenance. Third, don't let the fear of foreclosure headlines scare you away. If you find the right home, buy it. Don't gamble on a crash that isn't coming. And for sellers, here's the message. Don't wait until affordability squeezes buyers out completely. Right now, there are still motivated buyers in the market, but they're picky. They want value. They want homes that feel move-in ready. If foreclosures do tick up in your area, it means more competition for you, and buyers will compare your home to distressed properties, even if they're not the same. That's why presentation, pricing, and strategy matter more than ever. If you're considering selling in Phoenix, Scottsdale, Chandler, or Gilbert, this is the window to do it before the market shifts further. So, is a foreclosure wave coming? Yes, but not the way the headlines make it sound. We'll see more distressed sales in 2025 than we did a year ago, but it won't be a repeat of 2008. It'll be localized, it'll be uneven, and it'll hit some groups harder than others. For buyers, that means watch the market, be ready, but don't gamble your future on a fantasy crash. For sellers, it means act before affordability shrinks your buyer pool even more. If this breakdown helped clear things up, do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe, and share it with someone who's nervous about the market. Before you click away, let me share this with you. I've been helping people buy and sell homes across the entire Phoenix metro area for more than 16 years. And as you can see from my 18 Phoenix Metro City vlog tours, I've gone in depth from Scottsdale to Chandler, Glendale to Gilbert, and everywhere in between. That means when you're ready to make a move, you're not just getting someone who knows the contracts, you're getting someone who knows the neighborhoods, the schools, the lifestyle, and the little details that make the difference between just buying a house and finding the right home. So if you've been thinking about buying, selling, or even if you just have questions about what's really happening in today's market, reach out to me. You can call, text, or email me anytime. And of course, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss my next video on the Phoenix real estate market. I'm Charles Fratantoni with HomeSmart, and I'd love to put my 16 years of experience to work for you.